Thank you, Danny. I appreciate that. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dean Dauphinais. I am an enrolled member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians. I am also a Marine Corps veteran. I served from 1995 to 1999. So in order to make myself sound like I'm an old salty dog Marine, I tell folks that I served back in the 1900s. So I can hang in there with those guys. I'm really happy to be here today. We're here to talk, kind of all things GI Bill, and we're very fortunate to have a subject matter expert on this topic with us, who's going to introduce herself in just a minute. But I can't say enough about, the GI Bill benefit, as well as a lot of the other VA benefits, which I hope we can maybe touch on a few towards the end of the presentation. But for the purposes of today, we want to definitely focus on GI Bill. So with that, I just also a little background. I was born and raised on the Spirit Lake Nation Dakota Reservation in central North Dakota. Although being an enrolled member of Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians, my mom is Dakota, my dad is Ojibwe, so that's how that all worked out. Um, so yeah, I'm going to now turn it over to my partner in crime this evening, Louisa Sanderson. Louisa, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure, Dean, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Louisa Sanderson. I am a management and program analyst with the Department of Veteran Affairs. With VA, I serve with our education service office, which is over the GI Bill benefits. I'm with the stakeholder engagement team. I too, like Dean, am an old curmudgeonly veteran. I served in the United States Air Force from 1994 until 2001. So
Saltier
I'd
than
say
me.
just a little bit saltier, Dean. Maybe a little seasoned salt. How's that?
There we
uh,
go.
I I am just very happy to be here. Whenever I get a chance to share with my fellow veterans about our VA benefits, specifically our GI Bill benefits, it's always an honor and a pleasure. And hopefully, you'll find value in the presentation this evening that Dean's going to be presenting for you. And I will be in the background waiting for if we have any questions or any way that I can assist.
Sounds very good. Thank you for that. So the way we best thought to do this was to provide an overview, which Louisa will quickly become into the foreground on this topic as the subject matter expert. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen, but a little bit of housekeeping items. After the event, we will be sharing this presentation. So don't feel like if you didn't take all the notes or whatever the case may be that you didn't capture everything. We will be sending a PDF of this presentation afterwards, as well as some links to some other kind of new developments regarding GI Bill that we'll touch on towards the end. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get into our presentation, make sure that we have enough time to cover the main reason why we're here. And if we have time towards the end, we will get into some other things and give a couple tips and tricks, I think, that will be helpful and useful to any of you veterans out there that are looking to use other VA benefits to tack on to the GI Bill benefits. So right now, we're going to go to every veteran's favorite form of presentation. Here comes a PowerPoint. Okay, so yeah, today we're doing basically some VA 101, VA GI Bill 101. Review of our agenda today. We're going to go over mission and things like that, and the GI Bill overview, some comparisons on GI Bill. I'm from the Montgomery GI Bill era. There's post 9/11. There's big differences between the things. Chapter 36 benefits, some scholarship information, how to enroll and verify on a monthly basis, and then some other things regarding VEAP and Veterans Education Assistance Program. I believe that stands for, right, Louisa? Correct me if I'm wrong on any of these things. and then the VR&E program as well. And then some tools, resources, and one of the most biggest hot topics right now in the veteran community is the PACT Act. PACT, which stands for Promises to Address, help me with the C and the T, Comprehensive Toxins. Is that what it is, Louisa?
That was a trick question. So it is the Promise to Address Comprehensive Toxic Act of 2022.
Yeah. And just one really quick note on that I need to share, because I want more people to go, if you filed the claim, go relook at it, given PACT Act, what's come out with that. Because there are certain conditions are considered presumptive if you served in certain locations and time frames that you don't necessarily have to prove out. Like if you had asthma or something like that you filed for, it got denied. PACT Act considers that presumptive condition. So anyway, I can get in the weeds on this stuff. I don't want to do it right now, but I just want to make that plug because it's so important. And then we'll have some time for some questions. So, Louisa, if you don't mind, I'll turn some of this part over to you, as you're the expert in this space here, and then we'll some color to it if you don't mind.
Sure, Dean. So this first slide, everyone, we just want to talk a little bit about the mission of Education Service. Again, that is the office within VA that manages the GI Bill program. The mission of, as you can see here, and I won't read everything to you, but our mission is very important, is to provide timely and accurate delivery of education benefits to veterans, service members, and your families through effective and efficient claims and enrollment processing in order to protect the integrity of the GI Bill program and the benefits of the program. As you can also see here, some keywords: integrity, commitment, advocacy, respect, and excellence. These represent VA's eye care initiatives, or what VA goes by in terms of dealing with veterans and ensuring that we as veterans are getting the service and our benefits that we have earned and deserve. Below our mission, we have the 4 pillars that our Education Service Executive Director, Mr. Joseph Garcia, these are the tenets that us as an organization kind of live and work by, and these are very important not only to Mr. Garcia, but as well each of us as employees of Education Service. These include customer service excellence, again, going back to making sure that we're taking care of you, the veteran, process improvement and innovation, along with platform technology and enhancement. Right now, these two are very much hand in hand for us. Many of you may be familiar with our digital GI Bill, which is our technology modernization initiative that we began in 2022. And what that means is we are improving all of the archaic systems that we administer the GI Bill benefits with. If you've ever engaged with even VA, VA is also doing some modernization overall, but if you've ever engaged with any of our technology, especially prior to 2022, it was very clunky, it was very archaic. Some of it was probably developed before many of us were even born. So bringing everything into the modern era, as well as bringing everything together. One thing, unfortunately, about probably federal service is that a lot of our systems don't talk to each other. So having our systems within Education Service talk to each other, as well, reaching out into VA and having the VA systems talk to each other. Over the years, you'll see a lot of improvement, hopefully, and that helps to improve your experience as you engage with us in Education Service and across VA. And then finally, people advocacy. For us internally, this means creating empowered employees, but what that means for you as beneficiaries, veterans, family members, is that you are hopefully going to be engaging with folks who are their number one mission is to take care of you. Myself as a VA employee, but also as a veteran, the best thing I could be doing during the evening right now is talking to you and sharing about these benefits. So hopefully, as you continue to engage with other members across Education Service or VA, you see that positive attitude and that people first attitude. The next slide, Dean. So here you'll see some of our large scale goals with regards to the GI Bill benefits. The first is about expanding opportunities for our beneficiaries. Whether you are still in the service or getting ready to leave service, or you've left service, no matter what your situation is, we want to ensure that your GI Bill benefits meet your needs. That is about expanding what the GI Bill means to you. You traditionally think about it as a way to go to college, to a four-year university or college. But as you become more familiar with the GI Bill, if you aren't already, you'll see that there's many opportunities on the job training, apprenticeship programs, career counseling, various ways that we want to make sure that the opportunity for you is there as you are looking to pursue your academic or training goals. As you continue through your own personal goals, this actually is it helps us as a nation to increase our economic strength. We know that if we have a strong workforce, whether you are working for someone else or even working for yourself, that impacts our nation's economy and helps to promote the support that we need to continue forward. And then finally, we also know that as veterans, as service members, and our family members, we help to enrich our communities. We come from a community, a team environment. When you're able to continue those same tenets in your post service, that has a positive background, a positive impact, not just on you, but on your community. So for us, the GI Bill is more than just that four-year degree or training program. It really is a 360-degree global view and impact. This slide right here, I will be perfectly honest with you. It's just about us showing you all the big fancy numbers. The one thing that I think is really important, honestly, is our simple timeline down at the bottom. This shows you the timeline of the GI Bill from the inception, which, by the way, we are celebrating our 80th anniversary this year on June 22nd. And then brings us into the beginning of our digital GI Bill modernization efforts, which began, and I stand corrected, I think I said 2022 earlier, 2021. Some important things to consider with our GI Bill: if you are someone who is either a new applicant or even a returning applicant for GI Bill benefits, knowing our target dates, which you see on the far right-hand side, can be very useful. A lot of times when we are applying for benefits with VA, or it can be like, okay, I've applied. How long do I have to wait before I get my benefits? This gives you a really good idea of how long that's going to take. If you are a new GI Bill beneficiary, you've not applied for benefits before, you're going back to school, it's generally going to take about 24 days for your application to be processed and hopefully approved. If you are a returning applicant, this means you attended school in the fall of 2023, for instance, and you came back for the spring 2024 term. That those re-enrollments, that's what we consider a returning enrollment, and those generally take about 12 days to process, and you start seeing your benefits come through. And right now we're working at a payment accuracy of 95%, which is pretty good. But in my opinion, we do have that 5% that we're going to continue to strive for, because we want to make sure that everyone is being paid accurately. And then next slide, Dean. Next, let's compare our education benefits programs. I won't go too heavily into this. Again, as Dean mentioned, we will be sharing a PDF copy of this with everyone so that you'll have time to look through. As we go through, you'll see there's a lot of clickable links as well. But our first program that we're going to look at is our post 9/11 GI Bill. That is the most recent GI Bill, or you might have heard it referred to as Chapter 33. Typically with the post 9/11 GI Bill, you can get up to 36 months. And the important parts of this to remember are the delimiting dates or the expiration dates. If your service ended on or after January 1, 2013, your benefits do not expire. So you can take as long as you want to go back to school. If your service ended before January 1st, 2013, then typically you will have 15 years from the last day of your active duty to use your benefits. So at this point, if someone who got out before at the end of 2012, we're coming up on a couple years left. If you fall into that bucket of individuals, please, and you haven't used your benefits, please make sure you figure out a way to use those benefits. Do not let something that you have earned and deserve lapse. Next, we have the Montgomery GI Bill for active duty, or Chapter 30. Dean probably fell into the same bucket as I did. This is where I get a little salty, although I'm happy for my other veterans. This one, great program nonetheless. You generally will get 36 months worth of maximum benefits. And for our Montgomery GI Bill, this will generally expire 10 years from your last day of active duty. So if you got out, oh goodness, if you got out in 2014, at the end of 2014, you'd be coming up on your benefits going bye-bye. So if you are someone who falls into this bucket and you qualify for the Montgomery GI Bill, you do want to make sure that you are, again, taking advantage of your benefits. The next one is our Montgomery GI Bill for Select Reserve. This one will generally end the day you leave the Select Reserve or guard duty. And again, that's 36 months worth of benefits. And finally, we have our Dependents Education Assistance, or Chapter 35. You might hear referred to a lot as DEA. For DEA, it depends on when you used your benefits as to how many your maximum months. If you began using the program on or before August 1, 2018, then you can get up to 45 months. It was after August 1, 2018, then it is up to 36 months worth of benefits that you will get. Generally, if you are a spouse, you have 10 to 20 years of eligibility, and it's children ages 18 to 26, with one gigantic, huge caveat. With our DEA, as of August 1st, 2023, if you became eligible, or your spouse or child became eligible for DEA benefits, and this is through the veteran having 100% service-connected disability, if that eligibility is as of August 1, 2023 or after, then there is no expiration date. There is no age limitation on that as well. All right,
Can I
Dean.
ask one question on that? No,
Sure.
my own rules here. Can somebody, when they apply for the benefits, can you enroll in multiple GI Bill programs?
So can you use more than one benefit at a time? No. So, and there's actually a couple of different things. So for instance, and we're going to go off a little here, but that's a really good question. So like, for instance, some veterans may be eligible for both the post 9/11 GI Bill and the Montgomery GI Bill. You'll have to decide which one you actually want to use when you apply for benefits. The application, if you're doing it online, will actually say you're eligible. You may be eligible for both, and I'm paraphrasing here. And it'll ask you to make a choice. Similarly, the DEA program, we have another program which we don't go into a detail here, but is the Master Sergeant Fry Scholarship, excuse me. And the Fry Scholarship is also for certain dependents who actually lost their veteran. So a dependent or spouse may qualify for both, but they have to choose which one they're going to use. So even if you qualify for both, you do have to make that choice. There are some opportunities depending on your state. I believe the state of Virginia offers 100% tuition for state schools for spouse or children whose veteran is 100% service connected disabled. In those cases, they are able to take advantage of the state of Virginia's program, as well as say like the Chapter 35, the DEA. So they could kind of, you want to call it double dip there. But generally, our federal benefits, you're not going to be able to use both at the same time.
Thank you for clarifying that. I just talked to somebody recently who made me question that. So I was like, well, we're about to have this event come up. Let me throw that out there.
Yes, sir. So next is our transfer of entitlement. The transfer of entitlement program is actually a DoD program. You might hear it referred to as a transfer of benefits for those who may still be in service. This is an opportunity for military members while they are still serving active duty to transfer their benefits to their family members. A lot of times while we're serving, we take advantage of the tuition assistance, go to school, have the military pay for 75%, and we just cover the other 25%. Or through our military experience, we're able to get a lot of our credits out the way. So the transfer of an entitlement program allows the member to transfer their benefits to their spouse or their children. They must complete at least 6 years of service and agree to an additional 4 years of service. And they also have to be enrolled in the Defense Enrollment Eligibility Reporting System, or DEERS, as we hear it referred to. Once someone is actually eligible to do a transfer of entitlement, that's when it kicks in for VA, and they're ready to use their benefit. That's when it kicks in to VA, and we administer the benefits. Generally, it's going to be 36 months, up to 36 months that a spouse or a child can receive. You can actually give bits and pieces, so to speak. So you might give your spouse 18 months worth of benefits and your child another 18 months, and split it like that. So you can actually split it pretty much however you want. What we always do, though, is recommend that the military member keep at least 1 month for themselves. When we still had our vet tech program, that allowed them to participate in the vet tech program, but it also allows them to stay in the system and be able to transfer benefits back and forth if they need to maybe transfer some to their spouse or some to their children. So however you do, we always recommend make sure you keep at least that 1 month for yourself. And then when it comes down to having somebody use all the benefits, you can always transfer it back when you know you're not going to need it for yourself. And
Okay.
I see a question, Dean.
Yeah.
So is the post 9/11 GI Bill Chapter 33 benefits never expire for dependents, or does that extend until 26 years old? So the post 9/11 GI Bill for dependents, I am drawing a blank. I don't know why it is. I'll have to double check that, but they will have a delimiting date based upon their service members exit date from service when they complete their service. But I for some reason the age part, I will have to double check on you. I'm drawing a blank, and I don't want to guess on that one.
Okay, so maybe we can when we send the presentation, maybe we can answer some of those questions along with that as well. Try to package it up.
We sure can.
Great question.
Okay, so VA Chapter 36 benefits. This is the personalized career planning and guidance. This program is actually run by our Office of Transition and Economic Development. Oh, can we go back? Well, thank you. What I like about the personalized career planning, especially for transitioning service members or those who may have left service, is it can be a hard thing to try to figure out what you want to be when you grow up after military service. When we're in the military, we are told where to go, when to go, and how to go. So once you're ready to leave service, or even like if you're a dependent who is eligible for this, and some dependents are eligible for career planning, this is a great way to help you leverage your GI Bill. For me, when I left service, I was kind of like, not quite sure what I want to do, so let me just start taking classes. When really, if you have somebody who's a professional and can give you that career guidance, they can match your skills with your previous experience, along with what you think your long-term goals might look like. They can help you to figure out what you want to do with your education and training. And this can even be done while you're still in service. So if you want to cross-train, if you're being eligible for these Chapter 36 benefits, can help you figure out what you want to do while you're still in service as well. So great program. I'm glad they've added this one to our slate of programs. Next slide. All right, our GI Bill comparison tool. This is our online tool that if you go to our website, or you just search GI Bill comparison tool, if you are not sure where you want to go to school, this is a great way to figure that out. You can search by school name or location. You can actually compare schools side by side. And let's say kind of have an idea of where you want to go, but you're not sure if you'll be able to afford it. So I know a lot of veterans, when they're going to school, they prefer to not have to work or to just work part-time. If you are able to do that because you're eligible for a monthly housing allowance, like with the post 9/11 GI Bill, the comparison tool will help you estimate what your monthly housing allowance will be. So just a really great tool to help you plan for your education. Again, you don't have to do like Dean and I did when we were looking at school as we finished, or some of our counterparts, and maybe just throw darts at the board and figure out wherever on the map it lands, that's where we're going to go to school. Now you have a tool that will help you figure that out. Next
We
slide,
did have a
please.
little bit of discussion on that when you guys presented this in the beginning, because a lot of folks on the call, some of them at least, would be going to a tribal college,
Mhm.
and I'm not sure that it was populated on that tool. So the tribal colleges there might need to be a little bit more work on that, but we're helping to inform VA of those things out here in Indian country as well. So if you don't find it, we're working on it.
Yes, and thanks for that feedback, Dean. I know we actually, when you and I met previously, we had actually took that back to our data team to look into that too. So hopefully, with your input through the committee as well as ours, they'll start looking at that, because we want to make sure that if if your tribal college isn't showing up, that's important. I understand that's important. Somewhere that means something to you, not just as educationally but culturally, that being able to find that easily and get the same information as a quote unquote traditional college, that's important and valid. So moving on, next we have our Yellow Ribbon program. For me, the Yellow Ribbon program is such a great added benefit for students if you can take advantage of it. Not all schools participate, so that is one thing to keep in mind. You can't just go to a school and say, hey, I want to do the Yellow Ribbon program. But if they do, what the Yellow Ribbon does is help to cover costs that exceed the maximum that post 9/11 GI Bill is able to pay by law. And right now, as of August 1st, 2023, that is $27,120. So if your school participates in GI Bill, they can enter. What they've done is they've entered into an agreement with us, saying they'd like to be a Yellow Ribbon program school, and they will pay up and over a certain amount of what your GI Bill to help cover your costs. This is generally useful for graduate school. This is useful for private school, and even if you attend a federal institution, it will help to cover that cost. But again, the school must be a participant, and how much is covered is determined by the school. And whatever the school does cover, GI Bill matches matches each additional dollar that the institution contributes up to the total cost of tuition and fees. So you could, if your tuition and fees are $10,000 more a year, ideally you could have that covered between your school and VA if the school is a participating program. And how do I find schools with the Yellow Ribbon program? Dean, I believe if our next slide, if you could go to our next slide, we have that information on there. So the Yellow Ribbon Program, if you want to find out if a school is a participating school, we have this link right here. And if you want to look at it before we get these slides out to everyone, you could easily search Yellow Ribbon VA and the Yellow Ribbon tool, and then along with VA, and that should be one of the top things that come up in the search. But what you'll do is enter the full name of the school, the state or territory, the city, and then select search, and that will help you to find the schools that are actually Yellow Ribbon participants. Next slide, please. Okay. The next one is our Edith North Rogers STEM Scholarship. This is what I would say is a hidden gem for our GI Bill benefits programs. What the Edith North Rogers STEM Scholarship does is it covers those students who are in undergraduate degree programs, along with some dual graduate degrees, as well as clinical training. And these are those who are in science, technology, engineering, and math. Usually the programs that are a little bit more rigorous require more credits, more work, definitely. This will allow an eligible student who is a veteran using their post 9/11 GI Bill, or a beneficiary who is using the FRI scholarship, to get up to 9 months or $30,000 above what GI Bill pays to help complete your degree. I will tell you, we never hit the ceiling on this. It is, I believe it's about 100 and, oh goodness, I don't want to guess, but it's about 130 million, and we never ever hit the ceiling on this. I can't remember how small it is, but if folks knew just how little we paid out on this, your mouths would drop. So I encourage you, if it's you or someone you know, one of your battle buddies, or if you have a family that you know and they're FRI recipients and they're in these qualifying programs. First of all, STEM programs we know are well sought after. They continue to be well sought after. You know, whether it's someone who is going to medical, who is starting their medical school career and an undergraduate in an undergraduate program, or in some sort of technology or engineering program, very well sought after careers. So to have the opportunity to have your degree fully or at least close to paid for is a great thing. It keeps you from having to look for other avenues of financing your schooling, such as student loans. I have my own student loans. You do not want them if you can avoid them. So please make sure, if you qualify or you know somebody who does, they pay attention to this. The only thing that I will foot, or the one thing that I will foot stomp, is you have to be within 6 months of using all of your current GI Bill, post 9/11 GI Bill, or FRI scholarship. If you apply too early, you'll be denied, and then you'll just have to reapply again. So great opportunity if you're eligible. Keep an eye out once you hit that within 6 months mark of using all of your other program. Next slide. The post 9/11 monthly enrollment verification, I won't cover this too much. Basically, if you are going to school and using VA education benefits, GI Bill benefits, you're required to verify your enrollment each month. This is a pretty big thing for post 9/11 students because they didn't have to do this before, but anyone who used Montgomery GI Bill benefits, you've had to do this with WAVE for many years. What this does, and in a nutshell, is it ensures that the three important entities in your education are all on the same same page. That's you, your school certifying official, and VA. So this makes sure that whatever your school certifying official certifies as far as your enrollment each month, that is what is indeed happening. So if your school says you're going to school full time, we want to make sure that you agree to that so that we're paying you the right benefits. You don't want to get overpaid benefits because you were certified incorrectly, and you don't want to get underpaid benefits because you were certified incorrectly. The one thing I will say here is, if you are ever going to school and your enrollment changes midterm, make sure you communicate with your school so that they can communicate the right thing to VA. But monthly enrollment It's a quick response to a text, an email, or going online, and it ensures that your benefits are being used at the proper rate. Next slide, please. Okay, our Veterans Educational Assistance Program refunds. If you are someone who entered active duty between January 1st, 1977 or through June 30th, 1985, you may be eligible for a VEEP refund. I won't go into all of the eligibility requirements because it's quite a few, but basically no dishonorable discharge and didn't use all of your contributions, you could be entitled to a VEEP refund. You see here how to all of the eligibility along with how to apply, request that refund. That's going to be the VA form 22-5281. These are links that you'll be able to click on so that you can do this if you are eligible, or maybe you have a loved one who was on service during this time, or even a next to kin. If you're next to kin, if your veteran has unfortunately already passed away, as a next to kin, you could also request this VEEP refund. And it takes about 3 to 4 weeks once you apply or request it to receive it. Next slide. Next is our Chapter 31, Veterans Readiness and Employment. So this program is not a GI Bill program. It is a VA education and training benefit, but it falls under our Veteran Readiness and Employment Office. I like to present on this one and share it with folks because a lot of times when people think that it's the same thing as the GI Bill, or they think it's that we also manage it. So just to make that clarification. But most importantly, as a veteran, if you become disabled and it's a service-connected disability, if you are just 10%, you may qualify for either retraining or education through Chapter 31 through this program. What this does, the goal of the Chapter 31 program is to help you to find, to either train or get education with, so that you can be employed in an area that is more suitable if you have a certain disability. As an example, if you had a very active, hard on the body type career while you were in service, you injured yourself and you can no longer do that. I think one thing is probably think if you were in law enforcement, you might not be able to become a police officer when you leave service because it's just too hard on the body. So what Veterans Readiness and Employment can do is help you to retrain into something that would be more conducive to you, not risk re-injuring yourself or making that injury worse because you're continuing to be in law enforcement or something like that. So you can see where to apply right there. Again, if you are interested in this and want more information, if you just search VRNE in like a Google search, that will come up at the top of your search. But again, you'll be able to click on these links when you receive the slides.
And I'd just add to that, if you don't mind. This is a great program. It's you don't hear about it as much as I think you should. So you can exhaust your GI Bill and use this, right? It's not an either or situation there. I don't think there's a deadline for how long you have. Is there a deadline for how long you can use it, or is there?
No, Dean, so there's not a deadline, and I'm glad you brought that up. So when it comes to your the two types of benefits, VRNE versus GI Bill, you can be eligible for both. As I stated earlier in the presentation, you can't use both at the same time. But what we always recommend is that you use your VRNE benefits first. So if you left service and you've not used your GI Bill and you're qualified for VRNE, use that first, because what happens, VRNE benefits, if you use them first, have no impact on the amount of your GI Bill benefits, and that goes in terms of maximum months that you'll get. So at the beginning of the presentation, we saw that our maximum months for most of our benefits was 36 months. However, you can get up to 48 months combined if you qualify for more than one VA benefit. VRNE is typically that other benefit. You have to use VRNE first. So you'll get 36 months of VRNE. And then let's just say you're able to, if you're really good with your benefits, you might have only needed 2 years to complete your bachelor's coming out of the service. And then you're like, oh, I'm feeling pretty good about this, but I'd really like a master's degree. You might be hot stuff and be able to go and take that last year of your VRNE to start your master's program. But you still need another year worth of benefits. That's when your GI Bill benefits kick in, and then you can have that additional year, which is 48 months to complete, ideally, a bachelor's or master's. That's not everybody. That's just Louisa's example, but that I always say there's opportunity to stretch those benefits and get the most out of it. I am an employee of the Department of Veteran Affairs, but I'm also a veteran. So my first priority is us. So I say, however you can leverage, use, and abuse those benefits legally, you do so. But just always remember, use your VRNE benefits first. If you reverse that order, you will be limited to the 36 months worth of benefits that you can get. So if you go GI Bill first, it's only 36 months. If you go VRNE first, you can get up to that 48 months.
Yeah, I'm a little slow and I did do it in the reverse order. Well, I didn't know about the VRNE and I wouldn't have been eligible at the time because of the service connected disability rating requirement.
Mm-hmm.
And then just so you know, some of you may have looked at this program before, and it only recently changed from the 30% service connected disability requirement to 10% service connected disability requirement. So that is big news. A lot of good things happening right now in the veteran community. So take advantage for sure. I'm the same. I'm using every benefit available to me. And if we have time at the end, we'll share some of that.
I agree, Dean. And I will say this, and these are just anecdotal stories that I know from other veterans. There are instances of veterans being able to flip those benefits, use their GI Bill, and then use their VRNE, because let's say you've used your GI Bill and you're not service connected. You get down the road and your disabilities are really bugging you, and you get to that point where you can qualify for VRNE. There are times where veterans do get a little bit more. I can't say that's a guarantee, so please don't tell anybody at VA that Louisa said, but there are always those outliers. What I always tell folks is, you apply, you make VA tell you no, and then you reapply and you keep going up the chain until the very tippy top tells you no. But you fight for your benefits, and we are our biggest advocates. That is the one thing you have to keep in mind. And with that, we are going to go into our student resources. This slide right here is a collection of some of our highest level, but what I would also say the best resources that you can use for your GI Bill benefits. The first one is the Building Your Future with GI Bill. This is a 3-part guide series that is completely online. So each of them, part 1, part 2, and part 3, you'll be able to click on, and they run about 20 pages long, but there are so many links in these benefit guides. It'll take you into a rabbit hole of so many different things that you may not have thought of when it comes to your GI Bill benefits, as well as just your education across the board. Things like alternative funding, like looking at your state. I mentioned before that Virginia offers benefits for spouses and children of 100% service-connected disabled veterans. Another one is Texas, the state of Texas. If you enlisted in the military through the state of Texas, you're more than likely eligible for the Hazelwood Act, which allows you to go to school at a Texas state school 100% free. It also can allow your spouse to go as well. You can also transfer those benefits to your children. So just things like looking at your state Department of Veteran Affairs, which most people don't think, like, my state has a VA. Yep, your state has a state VA. Check stuff out like that. These guides also help you with just navigating not just your benefits and understanding them, but kind of thinking about, past your benefits and what that next career looks like. To the far right, we have some really good links to help you stay connected with us. We have our GI Bill Facebook page. A lot of beneficiaries and veterans will go on that page and ask questions if they need to know something. I do not recommend you ask personal questions on Facebook because it's an open space. But if you have like a Gee Whiz question, great place to ask it. We also have our Gov delivery system. That is how we send out all of our emails. If you want to get information on our benefits, those timely emails, you can subscribe to Gov delivery. And then we have our benefits website. We have Ask VA, which is a way to submit questions to VA, our education call center, and then our feedback tool. If you have a complaint about your school, and we don't like to talk about stuff like that, but sometimes the schools aren't doing what they're supposed to, you can actually submit that feedback. And then finally, our dedicated phone line for our survivors. The last thing we want to think about is a spouse or child losing their veteran. However, we will continue to take care of them. If you know someone who is a surviving spouse or child and are qualified for education benefits, they can call this hotline and choose option 5 and talk to a dedicated person who is trained to help our survivors deal with and understand their benefits. And next slide. And I think this one, as Dean mentioned earlier, is just about the PACT Act. Just make sure whether you think you qualify or not, as I said before, always apply. You make VA tell you no, and then you ask it, and then you apply again or ask for a second level review. You keep going up the chain. But the PACT Act does expand benefits for many veterans, and a lot of those things that you may may qualify for are considered presumptive exposures or disabilities. So again, please be sure to apply if you haven't already. And if you're a veteran survivor, you can also apply as well.
All right, Luis, I'm going to put you on the hot seat. We got 3 minutes. I think you got 2 questions. I think one of them's a 2-part question. Can you get them?
I'm going to do my best. I have 12 months left on my post 9/11 and just started on my master's. I have a 100% service connected. Can I still use that? So if you just started on your master's with 12 months, if you're 100% service connected, I cannot guarantee you what the outcome will be. But as I said, you should apply for your VR&E benefits, talk to your counselor. If the best thing is if your education is going to help you to transition to something that is more conducive to your disability, that's the case you want to be able to make for yourself, is how does this assist you with moving forward with that disability. The next one is, do you have to live in Texas to qualify for Hazelwood Act or just go to school there? In order to qualify for Hazelwood Act, you would have had to have enlisted into active duty through the state of Texas. So your home of record at the time was the state of Texas to qualify for it. What I tell folks is always look at the state that you enlisted in and the state that you are currently living in or plan to go to school in to see what the state veterans benefits might be. And did I miss one, Dean? You said 3.
There was one that was just a 2-parter, I think, and I think you got it.
Okay.
Yeah, good work. Nice look with 1.5 minutes to spare. Good job on that. And yeah, so I think with that, guys, we're gonna come to a close. We got 50-minute session. We got 1 minute left to go. So we're just gonna close out by just encouraging you all to study these links, dive into this stuff. Everybody in here is interested in education. No better thing to do to educate yourself on your benefits. I always say to my fellow veterans out there, be your own best advocate. And what that means is learn this stuff. Because if you count on a case manager or a counselor or something like that, a lot of times you're going to be disappointed. So be inquisitive, dive into this material, and then educate yourself so you can ask the right questions and go down the right pathways to help improve your overall quality of life down the road. So thank you everybody for joining, and I wish you all the best of luck in your education endeavors, and get out there and use those VA benefits. Thanks everybody.